Hi, and welcome to the Business Spotlight series. I am Karen Barnes. I'm an accountability coach with Serendipity Action Coach of Central North Carolina, and I am delighted to have a marketing guru with us today, Lisa Micheels, who's the Director of Business Development for Brown Creative. They have been a client of Action Coach, Serendipity Action Coach here for 13 or 14 years now, Lisa. Um, and she is going to talk to us about something a little different today, which is as a small business owner, what are the channels and platforms that you need to be thinking about and how you need to be utilizing those in the smartest and different ways? And we're going to talk a little bit about marketing strategies, and we're going to talk a little bit about video, which seems like everybody is buzzing about right now, and the best ways for you to use video as a small business. So first, a little bit of housekeeping. If this is your first time on the channel, please hit the like button, please hit the subscribe button, and please share this throughout your networks because, guys, we're talking about marketing here. Let's go. Come on, get on the ball. All right, let's dive in with Lisa. So Lisa, welcome to the channel.
Thank you. I'm so grateful to be here.
Awesome. Well, first, tell us a little bit about Brown Creative and your role as the Director of Business Development.
Okay. Well, Brand Creative is a full service digital agency, born and raised right here in the Winston-Salem area. We've been around about 15, maybe 18 years, so good long time. We function like a boutique agency. However, we have the staffing and the capabilities of a large agency. The thing that kind of sets us apart and that's different is that every client, we try to make every client feel like they're the only client. In that we pay attention to what's going on. We watch their numbers. They're not just a number. We feel like they're family. And by doing that, people tend to stay around a really long time. We do have clients that have been with us for over 15 years.
I love that. So you're already harping on some really important themes around, analytics and deep relationships. And so we will definitely dive into some of that in a little bit. But I want to start somewhere which, there's so many ways that companies can market now. It often feels overwhelming to small business owners that we're talking to, but something that everybody seems to have is a website, right? So what are some of the things that small business owners need to be thinking about with their website to make it more effective and to drive those leads and conversions?
Well, the first thing they need to decide is what do they want their customer to do when they get there? A lot of times I will see someone who comes to me with a website and the phone number is nowhere to be found. You
Mm.
have to dig to find out how to email them. And the language doesn't really direct the customer as to what they need to do next. So paying attention to what you're saying and what you're telling your client or your prospect to do, and then have someone who's not in your business look at your website and make sure they can tell what you do. Because if you build it, then you know what you do. You're preaching to the choir, but the rest of the world may not know what you're trying to say.
That is some good advice. So, I think about, websites, and one of the things that our founder Brad Sugars talks about is, you need to have about 10 different ways on your website for a customer to reach you. So what are some of those? That sounds like a lot, right? So what are some of those really effective calls to action that want to make sure are included on your website if you're a small business owner?
Well, there's just lots. So you want to make sure you've got call now or a way for them to click to call if they're on a mobile device, which most people are. If you give estimates, you want to use the language, request an estimate, call us today. You want to have a chat button if you've got someone who can man a live chat. So often we'll have folks that want to do a chat button, and I'll say, well, do you have someone who can be on the other end? And they're like, well, no. So you got to make sure that you have the ability to engage with whatever you put on your website. But learn more buttons, get a quote button, call today button, newsletter so they can sign up for your newsletter. Downloadable educational pieces are great because then they can put their email address in and you can remarket to them. There's just lots and lots of different ways. Like us on Facebook, follow us on this, any form of action that you can get the person to take. If you've got a strong YouTube channel, make sure you're saying, check us out on YouTube. Don't just put the icon there. Talk to the people. Ask them to do whatever it is the action is you want them to do.
That, guys, go back and listen to that again, because Lisa just gave you at least 10 ways that you can put calls to action on your website. And if you're not doing all of those, you are missing opportunities to engage and convert prospects into customers and to keep current customers engaged. So I want to talk about like websites, just, some people will just put them up and forget about them, right? How often should people be updating, changing, adding things to their websites?
You need to add content to your website on a regular basis. One of the phrases or terms that's used is authority with Google. That's what SEO has a lot to do with. And having authority means Google's algorithm, not a human, but an algorithm, needs to see that you're updating and adding recent, relevant content to your website on a regular basis. So that's one of the things that you need to make sure you're doing to keep it active and moving. So that's really from an SEO standpoint with your website. Now, there's a whole lot to be said for what software you build your website on. There's so many different parts and pieces to that. Because you want to make sure you use a piece of software that Google likes. So,
And that's probably something that you would have to talk with small business owners on a one-to-one basis for. So if you have questions about that, guys, you're going to have Lisa's contact information at the end of the conversation here. So I want to shift gears a little bit, because it seems like every client that I'm talking with just feels, excited by, overwhelmed by, mystified by social media. So explain to us the role of social media in marketing and how that might differ from a website.
great. So social media is an awareness platform. So the original intent with social media was to help people communicate, share your pictures, that kind of stuff. That's what the masses originally got on there to use it for. And the businesses thought, okay, all these eyeballs are on here, let's put some ads on. So there's two ways to participate. You participate with your posts, which only people who follow you will see, and not all people who follow you will see it. And then you have boosting. So there's multiple different ways, but as a whole, social media is designed to be an awareness platform when it comes to marketing. You are making people aware of your product, that you exist, who you are. There is a small percentage, depending on your industry, where people might take action in the moment. Oh, I've been looking for a plumber, and they call somebody. But the ones that tend to have the quickest engagement is a product that's being sold, like, a vanity product or a tool that's a spur of the moment impulse purchase that people may buy off of social media. But for the most part, it's awareness. It's making the world aware you're there, so when they need you, they go to Google, they Google you, or they Google what you have, what you are, like a waterproofing company or a roofer. And they see a name that they've been seeing for the last 6 months on social media. They feel like they already have a relationship with you because you've been talking to them for 6 months. So when they need the roofer, they're more likely to click on you and give you a shot at the job versus someone they've never heard of.
Exactly. So I just want to, if you're new to marketing, which a lot of small business owners didn't get into business to be a marketer, like this is what's called the top of the marketing funnel, which is awareness. And it's exactly what Lisa just said. You have to let people know who you are, where you are, why you're special, and why they should engage with you, right? So awareness then drives that preference, right? Hey, I'm familiar with you. I'm going to click, I'm going to search, and then that becomes more of a qualified lead, right?
Exactly.
Well, let's talk about Google, because you brought up Google, the end all be all of freaking the entire world, it seems like. So, what is the role of Google? How can small businesses leverage the tools on Google, including understanding the algorithms and some of the tools that Google provides? And then I want to ask about analytics here in a little bit. So let's just talk about Google for a minute.
Okay, great. Well, Google is always adding new products for you to spend money on as a business owner. Google is an advertising platform, and so I like to offer this in a visual exercise. So when you Google something, the first thing that pops up, if it has an industry category, is going to be Google Guarantee. That's called local service ad. So if it's a service company, there's probably a category for Google Guarantee. Google Guarantee, most business owners don't know what it is, and Google is saying, I will back your business. Google's telling the consumer, we back these people to the tune of X amount of dollars. And to get in that Google Guarantee costs a little bit more, and Google checks you out top to bottom, proof of insurance, business license, all that kind of stuff. So that's the first set of results. If you're a service provider, that you're going to see. The next set of results are going to be sponsored ads. Those are ads that are solely populated by what your bid is, how much you're willing to spend, and what's your quality score. And some business owners do well at running their own Google campaigns, but most don't, because there's so many moving parts and pieces to that quality score and things like that. And I think the biggest thing that small business owners, it's helpful for them to understand is what causes each one of these categories to function, so I know how to get on them. So Google Guarantee is a paid, Google Sponsored is paid, but there's lots of moving parts to that one. And then the third section is the mapped. And that has everything to do with your Google My Business listing or your business local listing. That they keep changing the name of it. But that's very much like a Yellow Pages app back in the day. So you get your very own Google location, your Google My Business page for free. You have to claim it. Google will self-populate that, and you think you have it, but if you don't claim it, your competition can go in and mark you permanently closed. It's hugely important that you claim your Google My Business, and then as your authority with Google grows, you will move up that list within your category. And then the fourth section is organic, and that's totally based on your website. Recent relevant content. What software are you built on? Do all your services have their own pages, or do you just have a single page website? There's also a lot of moving parts in that one. And we do offer lots of free advice. I do videos that tell you each category, what you're going to need. But those are your pieces to Google. Just Google, not YouTube, not the other video-based ones, but for Google, you have 4 categories or 4 sections, and then they repeat themselves at the bottom of the page, with the exception of Google Guarantee. Is that what you were asking? Is that kind of what?
That's fascinating. And here's what I want people to understand, like as a takeaway from what you just said. If you have not claimed your Google My Business page, stop the video right now. Just stop the video, come back to it when you're done claiming your Google My Business page. It is free, it is easy, and it is absolutely vital part of your marketing strategy. So thank you, Lisa, for making that so clear about what people need to do to engage with Google. And I know, we'll be sending people to your educational videos. And every time I talk with you, I always learn something new and a bit of good advice that we can share with clients, but also that we can do better, on the marketing work that we're doing. So I want to talk a little bit about marketing strategy, right? Because, we've got all these different things that you can do to market to people. And we've just talked about some digital ones, honestly. So your web, your socials, and Google. But in order to have a marketing strategy, before you set out what you're going to do, you have to understand some basic things about your business. So tell our viewers today, what are some of those key questions that small business owners need to be asking themselves and have answers to before they really start doing any kind of marketing?
One of the main things you need to determine is who you are and who do you want the world to think you are, your unique selling proposition. So how are you different from the other guy that sells widgets? Are your widgets wet, red, and there's your blue? What sets you apart? Because that you need to determine what you're going to hook your wagon to, so to speak. What do you want to be known for in your industry so that when you do go out and market, you're telling the same story about who you are on every platform that you market yourself to. And that USP it needs to resonate with the consumer, your customer, as a value. It must have value to them. And then you need to determine who is your customer. Because if your customer is 45 and up, you do not need to put a ton of money into TikTok. You don't need to really put a huge focus on Instagram as much as you might Facebook. You need to know who your audience is so that you know how to talk to them. You're not going to use some bebop and phrases and some slang in your material if your consumer is an older adult. They're not going to know what you're talking about. So determining who your customer is, determining who you want to be known for, and then figure out where your customer hangs out, and that's where you want to put your efforts for.
Again, write these things down. These are things that a coach can help you with. We can help you refine that messaging and find that value proposition for your business. So the last area I want to explore before we go into a few rapid fire questions here is, I see everybody walking around, everybody's shooting video these days, and some of them are great and some of them are really not so great. What is the role of video? Should everybody be doing video? What is it? How should we be thinking about it in terms of our marketing mix?
Well, there's a couple of different ways to look at video. Number one, you need to make sure you have the ability to record a good video. A lot of times when I'm dealing with our clients, my first statement is, if you have a person on staff with a dynamic personality, that's who you want in front of the camera. Do not put a very shy, hiding from the camera person in charge of your video. And figure out where does video benefit your business. So we have clients who have very hard to explain products.
Mm-hmm.
Video helps a lot. B footage running behind some verbiage is very useful because it can show all the services you offer without saying a word in a stat on the homepage of your website. So there's so many different uses. If you have a before and after type thing and you're like a remodeler, you could do some video walkthrough and then go back and do video walkthrough again and then speed it up, and then you've got a pretty impressive transformation. So you really need to determine all the questions I said before about who you are, what you want to be known for, and then find a way to utilize that video to achieve that. Don't just shoot video to shoot video. But what it does do is it lends a human element to your social media, to your website, to anything you're doing, so that people know they're doing business with a human, not some massive conglomerate, because relationship really matters.
I
So
love that.
it's got lots of uses. You just got to make sure it makes sense for what you're doing.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. So let's shift gears here a little bit. I'm going to ask you a couple of rapid fire questions. They're just short little questions, and you're going to give me short little answers back. You ready?
Maybe.
I feel good. I feel confident in your ability.
I got
All right.
it.
Lisa, what is the key to success for you?
Relationship. Tenacity and relationship.
Love it. What is your best piece of advice for small business owners when it comes to their marketing?
Ask lots of questions to people who seem to have it right. Educate yourself.
Love that. Constantly learning. What's a book or a podcast that you've recently read or listened to that you want the rest of us, that just kind of blew your mind and you want to recommend to the rest of us?
Well, I read it somewhat time ago, but it's Start With Why by Simon Neek, I think. That totally transformed my brain with fans and customers.
I just recommended that book in a class on Tuesday night. That's awesome. So if you had one area of in your business that you could sprinkle magic pixie dust on and it would fix all the problems. Like, I understand you're a business development person, so like your answers are going to be a little bit different than a business owner, but like, what's the biggest challenge that you face that you would fix with your magic pixie dust?
Probably my magic pixie dust would help me find all these business owners who are struggling, that are just throwing dollars away. Just
Yeah.
That's who I want to talk to,
Yeah.
because they just don't need to be doing it. So my
Yeah.
pixie dust would show me who all those business owners are, so I could go talk to
That's awesome. And our last question of the day, Lisa, you got this. What is most inspiring to you today?
them. Most inspiring to me today. Well, it's just rapid, so I'm going to say spring's coming and the sun is shining and it's not raining. That just rocks my world.
I am right there with you, sister. I'm so ready for some warmer weather. It's just, I tell people I'm an outdoor dog. Like, if I have the opportunity, the choice to be outside, I'm 100% of the time outside. So
Yep.
that is awesome. Well, guys, Lisa has dropped like, I don't know, $1 million worth of good advice on you today for you to start thinking about your marketing, to understand different ways of using different channels, different software platforms, things that you can do for free, like today, right freaking this minute, right? Go get that Google My Business page claimed right now. Share this video with anyone that you think needs to have their brain transformed about digital marketing. And we will be back next time with more highly actionable, very practical advice from another small business owner or expert. Thank you so much for being with us. And thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.